Are you in every way, woman?
We're back to continue the conversation with male breast cancer survivor Jim Becker. Jim, tell me what happened after the mammogram.
After the mammogram, I was inconclusive again, and so they asked to get the pathology report because they didn't have the results. And I'm sure that this was because I was a man. They literally asked me to go to the pathologist to get the report. I'm not sure they would have asked a woman to go pick up the results.
Did you know where to go?
I called my dermatologist and got it. So I went over and picked it up. And so I brought it back. And it was at that time I had stage 2. I was diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer.
What?
And surgery.
Yeah. When you because you talked about, you kind of thought about it. Mm-hmm. When you finally heard it, I can only imagine how you felt.
Well, it gets better because simultaneously I was diagnosed with prostate cancer.
Oh, wow.
And that's very rare.
Mm-hmm.
So,
do you think they treated you differently when you had prostate cancer rather than when you had breast cancer?
Actually, I had a very good urologist because he was very adamant that we take care of the breast cancer before we even address. Wow. And it was a very high PSA. It was 9. It was almost 10.
What's a PSA? What is that?
That's the level of cancer.
Oh, okay.
That was there.
So you were diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer.
Yeah. And
what were your treatment options?
Pardon me? Surgery. Yolando just simply said, we have to do a mastectomy. And I was like, okay. But it wasn't really explained to me.
Mm-hmm. Did you know what that was at this point?
At that point, I knew what a mastectomy was. But I didn't know about me, and it wasn't explained what was going to happen to me when I had a mastectomy. And then very quickly, you just had a segment here a minute ago, I wasn't even offered the opportunity to have reconstruction surgery, and I asked about it. Men don't get it. But if you watch TV, men's chests are there. Right. And the picture that you saw, that's exactly what I look like.
Were they able to save the nipple?
Pardon me? No.
No, they didn't save it.
No, the picture of the woman that was in there, I literally am that scar.
Wow.
That was there. And in the process of doing, after I had the mastectomy, I was one of the lucky ones because we left that evening. Mm-hmm. I was not about to stay. I felt okay.
Jim, did you have any support? Did you have anybody you can talk to about it, or a support system, a girlfriend? I mean, just...
No. If it wasn't for Nina, she was there.
Okay.
But she wanted me to stay longer, take some drugs, make sure I wasn't in pain. I said, I don't want any of these drugs. I want out of this place.
Why did you want to leave the hospital so soon?
One, people die in hospitals.
That's true.
That's true. Two,
That's true.
I wasn't in that much pain.
I'm curious to know, though, that we were in the topic of support groups.
Yeah.
Did you research?
Yes, there are none.
For men?
There are none for men.
Did you go to any of the support groups where there were women?
I went to one support group. Okay. Community Care had one. It's for people with stage 1 and stage 2. I went in. The women there didn't know who the hell I was. I didn't know who the hell they were. We had nothing.
Hi, my name is Jim.
We had nothing to talk about. Nipple. If I was trolling, would have been cool.
Right.
But really wasn't. But there is none. Literally.
Wow. Jim, let me ask you this, because you were diagnosed with breast cancer and prostate cancer at the same time. Did you tell any of your male friends, or did you tell them you had prostate but not the cancer? Or
I didn't tell anybody I had anything.
Were you embarrassed, or?
It's a male thing. I mean, I keep hating to say that it is, but we don't talk.
Yeah.
And because of those relationships, you don't go tell the world. I mean, I didn't tell my colleagues at work.
Well, speaking of colleagues, we know that you're a professor and you've done extensive amount of research on male breast cancer.
Correct.
Published articles, journals. Tell me about that.
Well, the interesting phenomenon is that 3 years later, I'm invited to this, which goes back to the research that I did in all of the social work and psychology journals. I publish a lot. In this one article, it took 3 years for it to get into press. It was rejected something like 10 times.
Why was it rejected?
Because it's a woman's disease.
But it's not.
And you're talking about a disease from a man's perspective. And if you look at the associations and you look at the journals I was looking at, oncology journals that I was submitting to, all the literature is around women. And there's no hard data that talks about men. So when you begin to deconstruct it from that perspective, there's not a lot out there around men.
But Jim, how did that make you feel that you were rejected like 10 times, and then how long? And you've been cancer-free now for
3 years.
3 years. It's awesome. But how did that make you feel to be rejected? It's an article talking about men with breast cancer.
It pissed me off.
Yeah.
We'll be back with more from Jim when we come back. Stay tuned.
Are you in every way woman?